Got two espressos in my guy. What are you sipping on? Water? Where we at?
I just got water. I just got big jug. I try to drink like, I don't know, how many ounces is it? I try to drink like 2 or 3 a day. Just keep this on me in the car and stuff.
Yeah, there you go. I got my water next to I got water and coffee to just rock and roll with you.
I'm not a coffee guy yet. And I say yet because everybody that I know drinks coffee.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you don't drink coffee? I'm like, no, man, I drink like matcha lattes. Like, that's the only like maybe caffeine I'll have.
Yeah.
But playing over in Japan, like that's all I would drink in the morning. Like they have coffee and everybody had coffee, but I'm not there yet. Hopefully I never get there, but I like the smell of coffee.
I was gonna say
Like, I like
the yet is curious to me because is it a do you I got into coffee when I was 19 out of pure just the boys were just trying to win a doubleheader, and so I just started slugging them. And here we are almost 16, 17 years later. I just have coffee every day now. But yeah, the yet is curious. So I guess my first thought to that is, I mean, how long? Obviously, we met through ball, and you went to Japan. I mean, I'm excited to hear the story, man, and unravel, because I really loved our brief time in interactions, and I'm pumped to chat with you. But
man.
That is fascinating to me because of the sport of baseball is crushed with caffeine and uppers and these sort of things. So which I think I'll learn a lot about these scenarios, but how did you never even get the conformity bug like I did when I was 19? How have you not conformed to the caffeine game?
To the caffeine. I don't know, man. I've always been like independent, like I'm gonna do what I want, what's comfortable for me. I try not to follow the crowds with anything in my life. And something as simple as drinking coffee like everybody else.
Yeah.
But I just, like I said, I think I've had like one sip of coffee that my mom, when I used to still live with my mom when I first got drafted, I was 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And I had a little sip. I'm like, this tastes terrible. How do you people have to they can't function without this stuff. Like this is ugh. Man, again, I like the smell. Like I'll go in a coffee house or a coffee shop or whatever, and I love the smell. Like I might get a donut or instead of matcha latte, but I'm not going to order coffee. And then playing baseball, like I said, everybody drinks coffee, especially in minor leagues. Those low levels minor leagues are grinding.
Oh yeah.
There's 11 a.m. kid game.
The worst.
And everybody, they have coffee on the bench for you. And I never got into it. I'm high on life, I guess. I never got into it.
I love that. So, okay, so then you were a high school draft pick.
Yeah.
What round you going?
I went in the first round.
Yeah, I remember that. So you went in the first round out of high school.
Yeah.
Let's pull me back into that thought, because you're essentially starting out in that position. Because I met you and you were in the big leagues, and I had known about you for a while anyways, just from knowing people in the big leagues. And then you went over to Japan, which will be really fun to talk about. But let's start in the beginning. I mean, what was the ride up towards the first round pick out of high school? And I'm going to peel into that because that always drives my curiosity of how people experience that.
Yeah. No, it was a cool, wild experience. I didn't start to get recollection. I didn't really start to get attention until my sophomore year.
Okay.
I was good at baseball, but I was never the best of my team. I was always one of the fastest. I had a lot of power. I could play the outfield, tried to dabble in shortstop a little bit.
Yeah.
That ended as soon as I got to high school. My coach was like, get out there.
Let's move you out there.
Yeah, let's move you to right, and then let's shift you over to center once you got the Bambi legs away from you.
Yeah.
Because just my freshman year, I was 6'3", like I said, brand new baby out of the womb.
Yeah.
Didn't know how my legs and arms work together, and I was wearing high waters because they didn't have pants long enough to fit me.
Nice.
And I made varsity. I was on varsity. It was me and 8 other freshmen on varsity and 2 seniors. I hit 8th and 9th my freshman year in high school. And I think I hit 3 320, 330. And I was okay. Like, it was all right. And we did okay. We knew it was going to kind of be like I guess like a rebuilding year for the high school.
Yeah.
And, that summer grew like 2 more inches and came back, and we had summer ball, and it was kind of developing a little bit. And sophomore year just like kind of grew into myself and went off. The 2 seniors that were on our team graduated, and kind of the sophomore kind of just took over. And I think I hit third or fourth, and I think I had 400 that year.
Yeah.
And I started to get noticed by colleges, D1 colleges, local colleges, some MLB scouts. Started to get invited to some showcases in Jupiter, around the city, around South Florida, growing up in Broward. And I was like, oh man, I'm pretty good, pretty fast. I'm getting invited to these showcases, and people are coming in the house, and people are calling me, and I'm getting letters from teams and colleges and stuff. I'm like, oh man, this means I'm pretty good. Okay. And then my mom started getting phone calls and like, hey, this scout wants to come to the house and talk to you. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, cool. I'm not doing anything after school.
Yeah.
So cool. I'll be good.
Yeah.
And then that started happening more and more and more, and I started getting invited to more showcases. And before my senior year, I got invited. So junior year comes, I'm killing it again. Yeah. We won districts again. I think we won district 3 years in a row. Sophomore, junior, and senior year. Never went to states. Always made it to the finals and lost the last game. But I was one of the captains on the team, and went to the unarmed All-American game my junior year.
Yeah.
And met Byron Buxton, Yetzi Amalte. Who else was in that game? There's a bunch of other guys. Striker Trahan.
What year was that?
There was a bunch of other guys I missed. That was in 2011.
Okay.
In Chicago.
Okay.
At Wrigley Field. So that was my first time playing in a big league stadium. Yeah. And first time in Wrigley Field. Yeah. And I was like, oh God, this is like,
wow.
This is insane.
Right.
Yeah, I'm staying at the W Hotel across from the water, across from the pier out there, and I'm like, dude, this is big league life right here.
Yeah.
And so I got a little taste right then and there. And again, more scouts, more schools. I went to go visit Miami, University of Miami. That's a school I wanted to go to. And I went to go visit Florida, and it was kind of between those two, and ended up picking Florida to commit to before my senior year. And that was amazing. I really thought I was going to college, literally out of junior year.
Yeah.
At the end of my junior year, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to Florida, play 3 years there, and then I'm going to get drafted. I had the confidence in myself, but I just didn't realize until the agent that I ended up picking told me, hey, you're going first round. Like you'd be offered a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't go to school. I know your mom wants you to go to school and everything, but it's going to be hard to turn down the money that you're going to see. I'm like, okay, cool. So senior year comes around, I kill it again. Kind of have an up and down year because there was a lot of pressure. I put a lot of pressure on myself just because captain of the high school team.
Yeah, you're going to get paid.
Scout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm going to get paid. I'm getting all this notoriety.
Yeah.
I won player of the year, Broward player of the year. I'm winning all these awards. I got news. I got the news, and newspapers come to interview me at school, pull me out of the cafeteria to go interview me, and people are like, yo, what? You're famous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, no, I'm just getting interviewed for baseball or whatever. And I just put a lot of pressure on myself. I think maybe any kid might have, being in that situation at that time, just not knowing anything. I'm like, I don't know anything about what's going on. I'm just kind of living it right now. And, I ended up getting drafted first round by the Texas Rangers. Ultimately, I didn't think I was going to the Rangers. I thought I was going to the A's or the Brewers, either earlier or later. And my agent we were in constant contact. I was at my mom's house. We had a little party, a little get together. And I was in her room with everybody else. And my agent called me after the 28th pick. Or right before the 20th pick, he's like, hey, the Rangers are going to take you pick 29. I'll call you back. Congratulations. And he hung up.
Wow.
Like,
what's that?
I'm getting drafted. Yeah, I'm getting drafted.
Yeah.
I'm getting drafted next. That was my agent, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, what? Are you serious? I'm like, yeah, 29. So after this pick. And sure enough, Bud Selig gets up there and calls me, hey, 29th pick. Lewis Brinson. I see the graphics. I start crying.
Yeah.
My boys are jumping on me. My mentor, my hitting coach is jumping on me, like punching me, and like, we
Oh,
did
yeah.
it. And it was just, and then me and my mom hugged, and we ended up crying.
Yeah.
It was just, it was all the stuff that we had been through up to that moment, just kind of coming out. And yeah, man, it was once in a obviously once in a lifetime experience. It was amazing.
Yeah, you went through the Milwaukee Brewers system too for a minute, yeah? You ended because you
Just for a year and a half.
because you mentioned them.
Yeah.
Was that year and a half?
Mhm.
Did you go in the big leagues with
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, I made my debut with the Brewers in 2017.
Yes. Okay. So because I helped out scouting with Milwaukee I played in the minors with Milwaukee till 2015, and then I helped out from like 16 to 20. And
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, and I want to go back into some of that, but you also carried that high prospect status all the way to the big leagues from the minor leagues, right? And I say that to you just from like my personal interpretation. I've known of you for many years because of the what you just said, All-American, first round, player of the year, all these things that you come up through the minor leagues, you get into the big leagues. So you kind of hear these things all the time. I guess what comes to me in the moment of thinking about how I think about how I've thought about you without ever knowing you first, right?
Yeah.
What's the journey like in your position of thinking about it, your perspective of having that big aha magical moment on the draft day with your family and your friends and your mentors, and then all of a sudden you have to go through the minor leagues and make it all the way to the big leagues? But even it kind of sounds like from like junior year-ish to all the way till even like now, in my mind, people have known about you. And you had this tag with you the entire time. And now you're in the minor leagues, you have to go to the big leagues and you have these big moments. What's it like going through that? Like being able to be yourself while also having this sort of perspective from the outside world following you. Do you know what I'm sure you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, as a 17, 18, 19-year-old, all the way up to probably 23 when I was with them, when I made my debut at 23, right?
Yeah. So young.
Yeah. So I don't know who I am yet. I kind of know myself as a baseball player. Gap to gap, I got some power. I'm fast. I can play the outfield and play all three outfield positions. I was playing center field most of the time then. But you honestly just you have to block out the noise of the prospect of he's going to be this, he's going to be that, he's projected to do this, he's projected to do that. It's like, oh, okay, cool. You listen to it. Myself now, maybe from like 26, 27 to now, I block all that out. I don't listen to that. I don't look at the comments. I could care less what everybody has to say about me. But back then, it was that mentality, but I'm still looking. I'm still at the comments. I'm still watching MLB Network. I'm still watching the 100 Prospect Show. And, oh, snap, I'm number 15. I'm number 20. I'm number 25. Like, it's cool for a young kid. You're like, oh, man, I'm good. I'm famous. These other people think I'm really good. You're on the prospect list. You're on Baseball America. You're on cover Baseball America. And you're just like, oh, man, this is dope. But you have in the back of your head, like, you haven't really done anything yet. So you kind of have to have that realization moment with yourself, like, okay, cool, this is all good. You're, really good in the minors, but like, we got to get to the big leagues and like make a name for ourselves up there. But going through it, I don't know, like I heard the noise. I try not to pay attention to it. In any interview I said, if you look back, I was like, oh yeah, I don't pay attention to the prospect list.
Right.
And, I don't care. I wanted to get the prospect tag off of me because that meant I was in the big leagues for a while. So that was always my thing. Like, oh, I don't want to be a prospect anymore. I want to be a big leaguer.
Yeah.
And I put that persona out there, which in a sense it was there, but at the same time, I was still paying attention to, where I was on the prospect list. And, I was the number one prospect in the organization and blah, blah, blah. And then when trade rumors started coming around, I'm sure we'll get to that. But that was a whole process in itself, like just hearing your name swirl around on Twitter and Instagram and MLB Network, your name kind of scrolled across like, oh, Lewis Brinson considered. and I'm calling my agent like, hey, is this true? Like, am I getting traded? Like,
Mm-hmm.
is all this stuff going on? Like, is this true?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I don't know. I'll call you back. Like, I'll try to find out, because any questions I had, like, I would obviously go to my
Yeah.
agent. I had no idea. And I couldn't really ask the coaches,
Sure.
because if they knew something, they weren't really going to say everything that they knew.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he was kind of my outlet, like, hey man, I'm hearing this from the coaches and from the team. Are you hearing the same thing? Can you call this person? So yeah, I mean, I've heard it, but I try not to pay attention to it, just because it would affect me on the field if somebody said something negative. Then I'm like, oh man, well, am I thinking,
Yeah.
am I not doing my job? Am I doing not doing what I'm supposed to do? So it was there, but I try not to pay attention to it as much in the minors coming up.
Yeah, I mean, but I think of it as, so let's scope out of this and think about when because you were a junior when you went to the All-American game in high school, and you
Yeah,
were at Wrigley,
yeah,
and you get that taste, and then a year later you get paid. You're still a super young, you're a kid,
yeah. You're 18,
Yeah,
right? You
it's
have no idea
wild.
what the hell anything is. Yeah,
Yeah, like if you were to think about that, maybe not even correlated to baseball necessarily, like what's the perspective of when that's happening to you at that young of an age, like what that does to you? Does it hinder your ability to know yourself, do you think, now? Like if you look at it, if you study it at where you are today and you look at it,
yeah.
do you think that stunts that? And you can generalize that too. I mean, it doesn't have to just be
Yeah,
towards you.
yeah, yeah. It depends on who you are. I feel like it depends on who you are and where you are in your journey, as far as like getting to know yourself and getting to know how you operate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think it's hindered me now.
Yeah.
Maybe back then, and I still don't think it hindered me, but man, I think so, more so in the big leagues. When I first got to the big leagues, all the noise and all the pressure and all the prospect lists and all this stuff, especially when I got to the Marlins,
Yeah.
that stuck with me a little bit too much.
Okay.
And I'll always say this, because I'm very self-aware and I'm not afraid to hold myself accountable.
Yeah.
I wasn't mentally ready to be in the big leagues when I got there.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, I was definitely ready. I should have been there a year ago. That's me. I was dominating Double A and Triple A. I should have been there a year ago, but it's not up to me. It's out of my control. But when I got there mentally, as far as like, okay, just do the same exact thing routine wise you were doing in Triple A, because you were killing it. It's the same game. There's just another deck.
Mm-hmm.
There's another camera over here. There's another camera over there. There's another set, fifth deck or fourth deck when you get up there. You're flying on nicer planes. You're the only team, but you're only people flying on the plane.
Yeah.
You're staying in nicer
Yeah.
hotels.
Oh yeah.
Your paychecks crazy.
Yeah.
You see your highlights on TV on Sports Center at night. It's a bigger production when you get to the big leagues. The game, in my opinion, is the same, but all that other stuff, you have so much access, and you've been in big league locker rooms. You have so much access to so many things. You have access to new, kitchens and foods and recovery machines, and you got a bat room that you just want to look
Yeah.
at, and like, oh my god, look at all these bats.
I mean,
and
they have
you go in the
sleep
dugout,
rooms.
you have sleep rooms. You
Like,
have, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You have a reclining chair that massages your back while you're watching your stuff on TV.
Yeah.
Like, you have access to so many different things, and you kind of get out of your routine, get out of whack a little bit. You try to try all these little things. And it's like, wait a minute. When I was in AAA, obviously I didn't have access to all this stuff, but the stuff I did have access to worked. So let's just keep that up. Let's integrate, let's incorporate some of these little things. Maybe the nap room. Later on in my career, I really took advantage of that, and really honed in on like taking a 30-minute nap after BP.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit more energy before the game, and then taking showers and stuff. But as far as like all the extra amenities in a big league clubhouse, you don't need to go to all these different things. You go your routine, go to your locker, take a nap, go on your phone, whatever you would do in AAA, do the same thing up here. And I think early in my career, I had a problem doing that, just because there was so much going on in the big leagues. That's why I say mentally, I don't know if I was as prepared as I should have been, or I wanted myself to be. Maybe other people are like, no, you were
Right.
mature and you knew your routine.
This
You
is
got there
your
for a reason. Like,
perspective.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, my perspective, I wasn't totally ready mentally
Right.
to handle what was about to happen. Yeah.
Well, I always think of it as like the show. I kind of bucket it into two things. Like the show is an illusion, and it's it's
Yeah.
a true show. It's an entertainment. It's an entertainment illusion for fans, which is like their reality TV show, and it becomes this.
Absolutely.
It's like if you watch the Super Bowl last night, like it's all glittered times 10x, 100x, even what the glitter of already an NFL game already is. And
100%.
then the
100%.
odd part of it is that you, as the entertainer, inside of that, still just maintain the same sport that you eventually were playing when you were a sophomore. And I think that's a weird. I don't know how to really package that, but I think that's like a weird thing in general. And then I think that, but I also think for the athlete, maybe you can talk on this on your side of it. I think for you personally, someone who gets to experience that and sort of see what an illusion is, and then also be able to play in the illusion and detach from the illusion, I feel like that, in my experience, as I've met more people like yourself or been around big league clubhouses, as you said, people who have been able to sustain performance or play in these things, they have to move beyond the illusion. And something about that, I think, is powerful for people's
100%.
minds.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You hit the nail on the head. I've thought about this, but I've never like talked about it.
Go for it.
So
yeah, let it rip.
Going as far as like the illusion aspect, as a kid going to a Marlins game, I felt that illusion.
I bet.
You know what I'm saying? I felt the aura walking up the little ramp into the stadium. You see the guys warming up before the game. You see him throwing a ball, and it looks like it's moving in slow motion, but when you get out there, it's not.
Yeah.
But just the way they're running, the way, just, I don't know, like I'm getting goosebumps and like excited thinking about like my childhood going to a game and like just every little thing that was happening on the field I was noticing, and I'm like, God, this is so cool. And then when I finally got a chance to be on a big league field, it felt like it wasn't real. Like it felt like it was in a dream, being on the actual field. But for us, it's just another field.
Yeah.
It's just another nice field that we're on. You know, there's a bunch of people here. Once you're up there a while and you get used to it, it's like, all right, this is another game.
Yeah.
But to a fan coming into the stadium, it's like, God, this is amazing. Look at the field. It's beautiful. Look at that guy over there. Oh, my God, he's doing that so well. And, you know, oh, my God, they hit that ball so hard and blah, blah, blah. It's just, you got the big screen in, you know, wherever, right field, center field, wherever it is. You got the music playing. You got the, you know, the Energizer people, you know, pumping up the crowd.
Yeah.
You got the PA announcer. You got the walk-up songs. You know what I'm saying? You got food. Like you said, the illusion of a big league entertainment, the show, pretty much.
Yeah.
The only place where I felt the illusion while being on the field is LA. LA is like you're on a stage putting on a show for these people. And then especially playing in center field with that
bass.
Speaker behind
Yeah, man, just rocking
bass.
you.
I mean, it's obviously amazing. That was one of my favorite places to play, but like you're in center field and then you see they have fifth deck. So you see the fifth deck, you're like, oh, like this is the show.
Yeah.
Like this is,
you hit a home run
against
the Dodgers with the Giants, didn't you?
Yeah, I hit 3 that series. That was awesome.
So it's wild because I vividly remember you in that series. But keep going. I don't want to take you out of your thought. It's just ironic that you brought that up because I vividly remember that series.
That's the only place. Well, that place in my debut in Arizona forever will be my favorite park just because I made my debut there and I love Chase Field.
Yeah.
I just love I love how it looks and from the field, and I've been there as a fan. But just LA, and then when I made my debut, I was like,
what is this? Right.
Yeah, I was the first one out there. My debut, I was the first one out there jogging, stretching and stuff. I'm like, I used to dream about running out on a big league field and stretching and looking around and taking this all in.
Yeah.
My mom and my uncle were there. They flew in for my debut. They were there. They're waving at me. I'm like, this
incredible.
Is crazy. Yeah, this is insane. I dreamed about this very moment, and I'm here. But like those are the two places or two situations where I'm like, I'm in the stand. Like I feel like I'm a fan playing, and I'm actually in there playing. But Yeah, that's a good point as far as like the illusion of either a baseball, basketball, football, tennis, whatever it may be, for people watching and spectating, it's the illusion.
Yeah.
It's you know what I'm saying? It's a show.
Yeah.
It's entertainment. You're going there to be entertained and, obviously root on your favorite team or player or whatever, but you don't realize it when you're on the field because we're so used to just the routine of being in the dugout, coming up in the dugout, going out to the field to the line to stretch,
Yeah.
running out to our position, warming up, blah, 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 going on deck, going into the batter's box, facing the pitcher, going through a whole game. And then it's like, all right, cool, we're going to do this tomorrow. But like for a regular fan, he or she might come to that game, watch the game, and then they might not come to a game for another month.
Right.
And they had that same feeling when they come to a game, like, oh man, back at the stadium again, the fresh popcorn,
Right.
the food, the stadium, ambiance, the music. So, yeah, it's when you get up there and you're in it, it's definitely an illusion and a show for people. And honestly, like going to a baseball game now, I can still feel that, even though I've been like, oh man, I've been on that field, I've a million times,
No doubt.
but you walk up that ramp, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, this is insane, dude.
It's crazy.
This is crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Well, I think like, so I'll also take you back to one of the things that I really like. I felt when I met you, one of the reasons why I gravitated towards you so quickly is because I did feel what you're saying. I felt like there's something about you that I was like, oh, this guy, he's tapped into something, right? He just feels like himself. Like you can feel that on people. Like you can tell, like you can hear, like I always relate it to when I'm talking to somebody and I can hear their voice and I can hear them speaking or I can hear their actual voice, right? Like I can feel their authenticity. And I really gravitated that when I was like just watching how you carried yourself. And you mentioned already your awareness to your awareness. You're aware that you're aware type deal. And I gotta keep poking at that because do you feel like that has what do you think the impact of the illusion, but then also moving beyond the illusion and doing a day-to-day or a mundane thing, or realizing like, yeah, the world thinks I'm a perspective, but this is my own standard of myself. This is me being myself, and all these things that you've kind of gone through. We can connect this to Japan too, but do you think that ability to even say what you just said, to be able to disassociate and realize like this is an illusion, I'm here to be a fan and be entertained at the illusion, but I've also been able to play in it and not be in the illusion, just be playing.
Right.
What do you think that how has that impacted your awareness, like just for the way that you feel, the way that you see the world, the way that you interact with the world?
Yeah, so I think I didn't start to get out of that until, well, not out of it, but like get used to it maybe until maybe end of 2019, going into 2020.
Yeah.
And I had already, had a good cup of coffee in the big leagues by then. And you obviously you get used to something. You're on a big league field every day for 8 months, like you get used to it. But as far as, I don't know, just realizing that I didn't really feel aware of my surroundings, or like who I was, where I was. I need to be where my feet are.
Yeah.
Maybe until at the end of 2019, kind of went on my mental health journey.
Okay.
At the end of 2019, I had a really bad year. Got sent down, good year in the minors, and then got back up and just kind of struggled to kind of stay afloat when I got back up there.
Yeah.
And I was on the flight. I remember like it was yesterday. I was on the flight going back home at the end of the season. We had just finished in Philly. And I was sitting next to my boy, Isan Diaz. And he had just made his debut at the end of that year.
He's a stud, by the way.
And I was, stud. Great person. But I was sitting there and like, I need to do something. Something needs to change. I have to do something that I've never done to get somewhere that I've never been.
Powerful.
So I need to change something. Something needs to give. Like we can't just go back in the offseason and try to figure it out. Like we need to like hone in on who we are, who we want to be up here, and how we make a statement and how we, kind of staple ourselves up here. And I started with meditating every morning. I started with, obviously I would pray I'm more a religious person now than I was back then. But as far as like getting closer to God and getting in my Bible and reading and praying every day and just praying just for being alive in a random moment, like I might just break out in prayer. But as far as like my mental journey, my mental health journey, as far as meditating, I got into grounding maybe 2022. I didn't get into grounding until that year that we met.
Right on.
But that was like part of my mental journey. But meditating, being aware of my surroundings, being aware of who I am, what I'm thinking about, if I'm thinking about the wrong things, being able to revert back to the right things. All right, cool. Speaking to myself kindly, speaking to yourself kindly, I think is a huge thing that a lot of people struggle with. Even just joking, like, I suck today.
Yeah,
like,
it's energy, man.
You know,
it's all
of
energy.
Yeah, kind of refrain from saying that and just trying to exit out those thoughts and actually speaking out loud as far as like, talking back down on yourself. I've like pretty much completely refrained from that, but that was part of my journey. I had to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And I had to get rid of that. Like if I had a bad game, all right, let's flush it down the toilet. Let's forget about it. Turn the page. All right, tomorrow, let's go. What we got? And I struggled with that a lot. Maybe my first couple of years in the big leagues, I struggled with holding on to things and maybe changing my attitude tomorrow. Like maybe I'll be mad tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll help me kind of push forward. Or maybe I'll just won't care and I'll just, kind of be happy-go-lucky. Maybe I'll like kind of I'll be lackadaisical on my routine. Just, because some guys, it worked. You pay attention to some guys funny. You pay attention to some of your teammates and different things work for different guys. So whoever was doing well, they seemed like they didn't care. They seemed like they were happy to like, hey, what's up, guys? I might go to the cage today. Or I might just wing it and they'll go 3 for 4. You're like, how is this man doing this right now? Like he didn't even hit today. Like he showed up at 3, took a nap, he went to BP, something BP. Right. Like what is going on? Yeah. So you're like, you go through these different, like trying to be a different person in a sense every day. And it's like, no, you need to be the same exact person every single day. When you go home, regardless of the best night of your life or the worst night of your life, flush it down the toilet and just, go have a beer, go have a drink, go take a walk. If you're in a nice city, safe area, go take a walk, go get a coffee, go get a donut, go get a cookie, go do something. You're in Chicago. Like I started to realize that later on in my career. Obviously 2020, we couldn't go anywhere. Right. And I was kind of that season, I felt like I was going to have a breakout year. I was working with a new hitting coach. And just, I was on a mental journey and it was helping. It was flourishing. And 2020 spring training, I killed it. And then COVID happened. I'm like, oh God, obviously this is happening for a reason, but man, I felt like I was about to just take off. I was about to like, just, turn into the person that I thought I could be in the big leagues. And, regardless of what happened, it was still a great year. It was a tough year, but it was a great year. But, in 2021, like being able to go in these different cities, we're in Chicago, we're in San Fran, we're in New York, like we're in, these amazing Philadelphia, we're in these amazing cities. Like go explore the city. You don't have to go play. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. No, it's not for everybody to go out and explore and go out, whatever, experience cities. But like after a game, man, go get a nice dinner. You're in the show. You just made $25,000 last week. Go get a nice dinner, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Go to a steakhouse. Go to a nice dinner. Go to a nice restaurant. Go rent it. Go with your boys. You don't have to go to a club, but like go to a nice lounge and rent out a section and enjoy life. You know what I'm saying? So I got into that mentality, and it definitely helped me on the field. Like, all right, cool. I have something to look forward to besides this damn baseball game. You know what I'm saying? Like I can go out and be a normal person besides just being a baseball player.
That's really powerful. I appreciate you sharing that. My first thoughts to that is I would imagine you, I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong on this. Do you feel like before you went on that journey, maybe you identified solely with the baseball player? Because to me, and let me say this to you. One of the things that I love about where you're at right now, and what I was really excited to just sit down and talk to you in this scenario, is you to me, even when I met you, you are curious about a lot of things. So like I met you like that. I met the guy who goes out and feels New York, or is curious about this or curious about that or excited about that. And so you like I said, I don't think I met you as a baseball player per se. Like that's all you were. I think I've met you as who you are now and this person. But then you say that, take me to that. Do you think that that's what it was? Do you feel like before that journey, you just identified solely with the character of the ball player?
Yeah, because that's what everybody else compared me
That's
to.
what
And
everyone
that's what
saw you
everybody
as.
else that's what everybody saw me
Yeah.
as. And I didn't really have an identity
Yeah.
outside of that. Yeah, I had life, I had friends, I had things I liked to do
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, but it was just, I was always thinking about
Sure.
baseball. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You want to be great at something, you got to be obsessed with it. I do agree with that statement, but at the same time, I think you need to make time for other things, be interested in other things in your life. So you don't lose your mind.
Right.
Because, I mean, I think only baseball players know, or athletes, professional athletes know, like, if you let the game kind of take you over, it will, and it'll drive you insane. And I think every baseball player has been there where it's like, I'm about to go insane thinking about this game and what I did wrong and, what this person told me, what this person told me. And then if you're paying attention to what everybody's saying about you, it just snowballs and it gets worse. So I just wanted to be able to enjoy life, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in the big leagues. Yeah, I'm up here. I have a job to do, and I never lost sight of that, regardless of what the back of my baseball card says. Like I always tried to get better. It happened the way it happened, and I don't really regret anything that happened in my career. I had a great run. Played parts of 6 years. A lot of people can't even say they made it to the big leagues.
Right.
So I'm happy and I'm proud of myself in that aspect, but I think I'm more proud that I didn't let it kind of break me.
Yeah.
And kind of define who I was. Like you said, we met when I was, in the middle of that, but like kind of on the winning side of that journey. It was like, as far as meditating, as far as being in tune with who you are and being okay with who you are and not really paying attention like, oh, this guy's doing this. You walking barefoot on the grass or you sit at your locker and breathe for 5 minutes. Like what?
Yeah.
And it's okay. It doesn't work for you. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for me, but it works for me.
Right.
It brings me peace. It helps me to play better and it helps me to be a better person, the person that I like. I really could care less, like with all due respect, I could care less like what you have to think or what you have to say about what I'm doing right now. But
100%.
It just helped me being able to live life outside of baseball and while still focusing on the game.
There's a thing that I just pulled my phone out to read this because I think you'll really align with this. My buddy told me this on Saturday, but what you just said, stay in that frame. Because and I relate with a lot of stuff you're saying, but he said loneliness is not being around others. It's a feeling that I'm not known, and we can tap into that because there's a deep discussion to that to be had anyways. But loneliness actually is what draws us into relationship with God. God is the only one who knows us and can know us completely. And the reason why that's just crazy pulled into my head as you were talking just now is that I think when we go on our paths, whatever that is, and we get to know ourselves, because you just mentioned that, and you mentioned your relationship with God earlier, I think when you're breathing by yourself at your locker, a lot of times loneliness, I think, I'm going to generalize this, I'm not going to say this towards you, but when we are when we're lonely, like actually lonely, it's because we don't feel like we're accepted by the world or seen by the world. People aren't seeing us. And so then it becomes really lonely and we get outside of ourselves and we desire attention. So we'll do things largely egotistically to get that attention. And then when you connect to loneliness and it becomes like a powerfulness, that's where I think the back half of that line came from my buddy, the way I understood it, is that now all of a sudden you weren't lonely and aren't lonely when you do 5 minutes of breathing at your locker because you're connecting with the source, whatever that is to you. You're feeling the energy and you're being who you are while also becoming more of who you are. And I think that that's like the paradox to actual loneliness. And I know that's a lot, and I just threw that at you, but that was popping into my head.
Peace. Yeah, no, and I totally agree with that. That's a deep quote, but it's peace.
Yeah,
and
it's beautiful.
I have not discovered like any type of true what it means to be like. I discovered my peace, and I protect my peace at all costs. I don't care who, what, when, where. my piece, because I had found like a small percentage, but like I'm still trying to, obviously you're still learning, everybody's
Right.
still learning and discovering every day. But my piece is the most important thing, to me. And when you find it, and when you're able to discover who you are, discover what you're about,
Mm.
how you move, how you think, how you view the world. I know it's maybe too deep for some people, but like it's true peace.
It's
It's
beautiful.
literally what it is. And just being able to discover that you're okay with whatever God has planned for you, whatever life throws at you, you're like, all right, cool, that was supposed to happen. As long as I did everything to prepare for this moment and it happened the way it happened, whether it's a good, good result or a bad result, all right, let it, that's how it is. Let's move on. I'm not going to dwell on what just happened.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if I didn't prepare well, or especially if I wasn't prepared, or regardless of the situation, it happened the way it
Right.
happened. I can't press rewind.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't press the rewind button. I can learn from it. I can move on and be better from it, through that aspect. But
Well said.
I just view that as peace, like not loneliness, but being able to be alone
Yeah.
and being able to like work on yourself by yourself alone is true peace.
Yeah.
Because
I
then
agree.
you're not really concerned with other people's view of you.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really concerned with other people's, thinking of you like, oh, what are you doing? Or why are you wearing that? Or why did you say that? It's like, because that's what I believe in. It's like, yeah, but other people, that's where you lost me. I really don't care.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think certain people see that, and some people might view it as disrespect, or you think you're cocky, you're better than everybody. And that's okay. I mean, that's just what you think. But at the same time, that's what brings me peace, and I protect that at all costs.
Yeah, it's weird. I think sometimes have you ever struggled with when you feel like what you just said is beautifully profound. I really love where you're at right now and like what's coming out of you. It's powerful. But do you feel like sometimes we have peace and we can get caught? And maybe I think we do this when we get outside of our connection with God, or when we're feeling our soul. We'll put that in that position when we're connected to ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's weird sometimes because people can have their perspectives towards you no matter what. And I think that's part of the bit. Like part of the challenge is
Yeah.
having the external
100%.
world having a perspective
Mhm.
about you or a judgment of you. And it's weird because you can't justify who you are. So that's where I have found so much power in my practice of meditation and my silence and hiking and reading or writing, whatever energy I can kind of feel from within. It's like I can't even tell you or justify to you who I am. And so you get into positions where you just really don't anymore. You just stop because there's no reason. And I feel like, and maybe you have or haven't, but in parts of my life where I've felt myself feeling weaker is when I'm trying to prove to you or justify to you who I am.
Yeah, 100%. I can definitely relate to that. And just remembering back to when I did really, I was concerned with how other people thought, and whether it be coaches, front office,
Yeah.
analysts,
Yeah.
my friends, regardless of who it was, like I was concerned on how you viewed me and how everybody has their insecurities. One of mine was my legs. I have very skinny legs.
Yeah.
And it stuck with me, and obviously I got made fun of my entire life.
Sure.
Good looking guy, but man, you got the skinny ass legs. You're like, oh yeah, but them legs are skinny, man. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I've been kind of dealing with it, but like you try to brush it off, especially when you're younger.
Yeah.
You brush it off, but internally you're
It
like,
hurts.
man, I do have some skinny
Yeah.
ass legs, dude, with everybody else having, normal size legs,
No
whatever.
doubt.
But I've gotten to a point where that doesn't bother me anymore, obviously. And quick story. So, and it was like a win. This was like a moment where like, I feel like I won a little bit, like moving forward. So in 2020, I had told myself I was going through my journey in the off season, meditating, kind of feeling better about myself and not really concerned with the outside world. And 2020, I told myself, I'm like, you know what, man, I'm going pants up. I'm going pants up this year. I always went pants down. And it might seem real small to people, like, yeah, cool, bro, just go pants up.
Yeah.
But for me, obviously the outside world is telling me, all these things about my legs, but internally I felt like, man, my legs are really skinny. I can't show them off on
Yeah.
TV. I can't wear high socks.
Yeah.
So in 2020, I'm like, you know what? F it, man. I'm going pants up. I like the way it looks. I've always wanted to. I'm getting a little older. Like, I feel like the pants now has slowed me down. I want to feel like I'm wearing shorts.
Yeah.
Regardless of how that feels.
Yeah.
But like, I want to feel like I'm wearing shorts on the baseball field. So 2020, my first game, I'm like, I'm pulling them up. I'm going pants up. And there was a couple of times where like I look in the mirror before I went out there. I'm like, nah, I go pants down today. And that's just part of it. It's part of the journey.
It's the
and
process.
it's part of like, being confident in yourself. And, towards the end of the year, I would, just pull them up. And that was a mental win for me because from then on out, I'd never gone pants down. From, maybe the middle of 2020 season on up. And that was a win for me. That was like, man, you overcame that.
Yeah. It's
you know
incredible.
what I'm saying? That you overcame everybody else's perspective of you and you overcame that insecurity, about yourself. And, that was like a mental win. That was a huge mental win for me as far as like myself. But, man, it's just, you get to a point where you find peace in who you are and what you represent and how you speak and what you wear. And you just don't let other people kind of confine you to, no, man, you should be here. You should be right here. Don't go out here. You can't be out here. It's like, what? Who are you here? You're telling me what I can't do with myself and how I dress and how I look, whatever. Maybe you might be scared to step out the box, but I'm going to go ahead and open this door and step out this box, see what else is out here. And that has opened me up and opened up so many doors for business, for relationships, for everything that I'm going through right now, just for me stepping out of the box a little bit and visiting all these different avenues and these different people. So I would encourage people just to step out the box. You never know, what might be out there.
I think that's an amazing story in the fact that, because if you were to tell somebody in that moment about the pants up, it's like, how much is that worth? Well, that internal confidence and peace is worth all the things you just mentioned. But the weird thing about the weirdest thing about it, and this is, I think, what goes back to the justification or need or what we want, and I think this is more ego versus our spirit, is like, that story, what is that worth? Like, can you even put a tag or a return on investment of what it was worth to go pants up on television and playing a Major League Baseball game? Because it sounds like, well, you should have taken 40 more swings to get more money, but that's not the point, and you had to come to that realization. I mean, go with that thought for a second, and if you don't mind, and just, what is it worth when we make decisions like that? Because you can't even measure what the pants up is, but it's profound.
Yeah. But it's profound with me. For somebody else, it might be like, oh, you just went pants up. Like, what do you?
Right.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, you just went pants up, cool. But like the internal battle that I was going through and fighting with myself, and I finally just won and was like, just do it. Just do it. So
cool.
Just do it. And it's, it's like a big old weight taken off your shoulders. You're like, oh man, I'm like, and then you watch yourself back on TV. It's like, man, you don't even look that bad, bro. You can't even tell. You're all the way in the outfield. You can't even tell. But you start to just like kick those things to the curb. And you're like, man, just do it, bro. You want to do it, do it. So it's I don't even know what it's worth, because it literally has brought me to a point now where it's like, man, I'm at such peace with what I got going on that nobody can like interfere with that. You know what I'm saying? And once you find that, and once certain people find it, and I've talked to people that have like discovered internal peace, they're like, oh my God, dude. Like the ability to just go through life and just be able to just live freely and do what you want to do, obviously through God and everything that you do through the word, but just being able to like freely go about the world, because the world is so worried about what everybody else has and what everybody else is doing and what everybody else is saying. And, if you're doing this or you're saying this, you're not going to make it to the top. And it's like, dude, how do you, what? Like, what are you even talking about? Like, everybody's different. Everybody has a different path. Everybody has a different story, things that they go through, different trials and tribulations to get them to where they need to be. So once you discover that and honestly, like hearing people talk about it, if I get in a conversation with somebody about that topic and seeing them and hearing them like, dude, when I finally let this go or let that
That's
go,
free.
the internal piece is priceless.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. And I'm like, dude, isn't it? And we'll just go like, we'll go back and forth. And it's like, oh man, I just met somebody that, or, kind of maybe if they were holding in, if I knew the person for a long time, it's like, oh, we're on the same brainwave. All right, let's talk about peace because this is great. And you just kind of go into that, and you can see each other's world. Like, man, you see the joy in his eye or her eyes, and you see the joy in my eyes or whoever I'm talking with. And you're just like, man, I'm happy for you, dog. Like, I'm glad you found that because I know how that feels. So you kind of relate to people that way.
So then let's go to the present moment. How's life in, cause you have some businesses rocking. I mean, you got a creative mind in general. You're up to some stuff, you're partnering with stuff, you're traveling, you're doing things like this. Like what's what's life like right now?
Life is great, man. First I want to, I always give kudos to my wife right now because she's been on a journey herself in discovering what she wanted to do and discovering who she is as a person. Beautiful. And just me being part of that and just being supportive of her. Yeah. She's a Pilates instructor now. It's something that she's wanted to do and she's been working for like a year and a half now. And she's booming, she's doing her thing and she's getting great reviews and people love what she's doing and her work and people are coming back and telling their friends to come back and see her and take her classes. So my internal peace comes with my wife's internal peace and her and seeing her flourish. So I'm super, super proud of her. So just in that aspect alone, I'm in a great place. But as far as, what I got going on, man, now, I mean, it's just done with baseball. Yep. Officially said that I'm done with baseball.
Congratulations.
I'm trying to, thank you.
Yeah. I'm
trying to get into broadcasting. I want to get into, speaking and being on camera and speaking about the game. I don't necessarily want to be on the field. But I want to be able to talk about the game. I played at the highest level. I feel like I speak well. I'm a good-looking guy. And I just know the game. And I've been through a lot. And I can give my perspective on a lot of things that maybe people at home don't see. Definitely a younger perspective. I played with most of the guys and played against most of the guys that are still playing now. So I'm getting into that. And started a podcast with two friends of mine, Nico Goodrum. Familiar with his name?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so he played with the Detroit Tigers, I think for like 6 or 7 years. And then Emmanuel Hudson, you know that name?
With that name.
He's on Wildin' Out. Yeah. And kind of internet celebrity, comedian, singer, songwriter. I just found out he writes music. Right on. So he's doing that, so it's called the Clubhouse Lounge. So coming out maybe in March sometime. So we're
love it.
Kind of starting that up, and then have a nonprofit that I represent, Home Team Fit, Home Team Foundation, but we have another page called Home Team Fit. We just had an event at January 11th, Broward versus 305, kind of a celebrity softball game, but trying to kind of put the word out about mental health. Yeah. And it's okay to talk about mental health. I think that's a very vulnerable and very touchy subject for some people. So we're just trying to put out good vibes in the world. Like, okay, it's okay to talk about it. Yeah. Like everybody's going through something. You don't have to get personal, but let's, be able to talk to each other and being able to check up on each other. And just talk about mental health in general and how we can get better in that aspect. So we had a bunch of cool sponsors for that. I've been working on getting sponsors for the different events. So that's kind of been my job. Just trying to talk to different sponsors and get different sponsors and kind of explain to them our mission and what we're doing in the community. Yeah. So my partner with that kudos to him. Shout out to Trevor. He's put me on as far as like my business side of what I got going on and following up with people. I'm learning different aspects and different business strategies and different ways to kind of get the trust of these people and show them that I'm legit, not just a former baseball player trying to, do some things and trying to dibble dabble, but I want to make a difference. And they can see that. So I'm doing that, and I have some different angles, man. Trying to be a golfer.
Oh yeah,
trying my best.
Let's go, baby.
I'm trying my best, man. Yeah. So we're trying to break 80 here soon. So whenever I do that, that video will be
Yeah, I was
posted
gonna say
quickly.
that's pretty legit. Let's go,
Yeah,
baby.
so
Let's go.
I'm trying to break 80,
Love it.
but man, just having fun with that. I live across the street from a golf course. So I've
Nice.
been practicing, and it's just fun for me, bro. Like I just like going out there and hitting a good shot. And I don't know why we picked the most frustrating game as a baseball player, like playing baseball, most
Yeah.
frustrating mental game ever.
Yeah.
Probably the hardest thing to do. It is the hardest thing to do in sports.
100%. Fail all
hitting
the
a
time.
baseball.
Play every day.
Yeah, fail all the time. Let's come back tomorrow, man. You might fail again, and then tomorrow, and then again. You might go over for 25,
No
but come
No
back
doubt.
and
Keep
for
doing
some
it.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep doing it, bro. It'll change. So and then playing golf, dude. The ball's not moving, and it goes this way and that way, and it's so particular, so meticulous, and it pisses me off. But it's a great game. It's beautiful, and I like playing new courses. Man, I'm down here in South Florida, so like these courses are beautiful. So I like just meeting new people. And I'm meeting new people through golf.
I bet.
So you got that aspect. Yeah,
I bet. Well, it's on my head to ask you this as we can kind of start wrapping up, but it's a thought of I can't not ask it now. I mean, you're entrepreneurially professional sports. Let's think even golf and baseball, the hardness of that and the zen it requires, the focus it requires, etc. And then your life as an entrepreneur, because obviously you're taking all the skills as you've created as a person and you essentially take that into all the endeavors that you're in right now. Like what of all the stuff, if you could just zoom out, how has it helped you just develop? How has it helped you? Like, what are things that that has worked through you, that knowledge has come to you, it's turned itself into some wisdom, and you've learned about just like a process of personal success, material success, and sort of balancing everything together. Because I think that's what makes us good entrepreneurs, that we learn through sports. Is we learned all these things and then we take it into business and we have the confidence to kind of think and create and work with people. You're a great teammate and you can do this and you can kind of partner with people. Like how is it now? How is your frame towards this exact moment with business and everything that you're doing, that you've kind of learned how to balance everything?
Yeah. I definitely writing stuff down has helped.
Yeah.
As far as like keeping a schedule and making sure I'm, I know what calls I have at what time.
Yeah.
I might have, 4 or 5 calls in a day, just making sure like I write stuff down. I could put it in my phone, but I feel like I remember it more if I write it down. So like journaling and writing stuff down and being on time, following up. Obviously the being on time aspect with baseball. We had to be on time every day for something.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
So
schedules.
Yeah. So you just try to, your life was literally a schedule for 13, 14 years.
100%.
So living out of a suitcase and stuff. So just being able to pivot and adjust, when a time doesn't work, or, somebody has something going on or something pops up, or we got to meet in person. Like, hey, can you pivot and maybe meet me here? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Cool. Let's do it. But also following up with people, being able to, if somebody, doesn't answer right away, or, doesn't answer an email right away, like, oh, I'll get back to you. But then it's been like 5, 6 days, just following up like, hey man, just wondering if we're still on for this date, or are we good for this sponsorship? Are we good for this call? Whatever it may be. But I'm learning. I have not figured it out at all. I'm literally in the beginning stages of being an entrepreneur and just learning different aspects of business, how to talk to people that have already been in business for 30, 40 years, and having them trust me, with what I'm saying and my mission, and just trying to give back to the community. I always knew I wanted to give back, and I had different ideas, and I would ask my coaches, I would ask my managers, I would ask my veterans that I would have in my team, like, hey man, how'd you start the foundation? Sure. Did you need this X amount of money? Did you need to go to school? Like, what did you need to do? It's like, dude, all you need is your name and a mission, and put it out there and just
simple,
do it.
Right?
And I'm like, oh, okay. It sounds simple, but I know there's more that goes into it. But like I said, my partner Trevor has helped me, guide me through the way. And he's just helping me as far as like, because he's a former football player. So he had to make the transition out of football into, what he's doing now. And he's helped me along the way as far as making connections and how to speak to people and how to be on time, and just honestly being yourself in that aspect, not trying to be like this perfect pish posh, like, uppity kind of person, but like being yourself and utilizing your name, utilizing what you did, utilizing the fact that you are a professional athlete and you've reached a level that not a lot of people have reached.
Well, and you have an incredible story. I mean, you've experienced a tremendous stuff at a young age.
I've had a lot of stuff go on in my life, and you know, realizing that these people that I'm talking to and trying to get their trust and everything, have a respect for me at the end of the day. It's like, listen, man, you're a professional. You played at the big league level. My kid loves it. You know, I love baseball. My grandfather, my father, whatever. They have a level of respect for you already, but as far as you still need to come in as I'm not a professional baseball player right now. You know, I'm just Lewis Brinson. Yes, I did play baseball, but I'm trying to, do this in the community, or I'm trying to get this sponsorship, or, whatever the case may be. But you just learn.
Yeah.
You just learn along the way. You ask questions, utilize your resources. I think that's a big aspect that you mentioned earlier. Like, we've learned how to talk to different people and be in different rooms throughout our career and our life. That has helped me a lot, just utilizing my resources, people that I've met, people that I've interacted with, or played against or whatever, and they're not doing anything, they're not playing baseball anymore, and we're just like, hey man, you got this going on, I think we can collab, or I think we can partner up doing this. And you just utilize who your resources, and just use that to your advantage. And that's all I'm doing, bro. Like I said, I'm still learning.
Yeah, but you're going
I'm
for
still
it, man.
learning. I haven't figured it out. Yeah. And the biggest thing is doing it. Like, literally last year, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and just I prayed on it, and I trusted God on it, and He told me to sit still. And He's like, listen, just sit still for me for a second. And I sat still for like 2 weeks after I got back from Mexico, because I was like down and out. I'm like, man, I can't. All I know is I don't want to play baseball right now. But I need to obviously find something that interests me and something I need to do. And literally just one by one, utilizing my resources and calling different people, texting different people, following up with people, emailing people. Different doors started to open up, and now I have a vast variety of things that I can be into. So I'm thankful for Him telling me to sit still, because other than that, I would have been trying 10,000 different things and not getting anywhere. And just being patient. That's another thing I'm working on, is being patient, for sure.
Yeah, that's the toughest part. If you don't, if you don't mind, I got one more thing I got to ask you.
Yeah.
Something that I've realized when I got done playing, and I realized with everyone like yourself and people that we know so many people have to transition out of the game, right? And I've recently likened it to essentially you have to kill and then grieve the character that you once were. And that's the ball player, right? And now you're this new character, and you're learning these new roles. And obviously that's hard for everybody, but I mean, how's that been in the last year? Just basically grieving a former you, and then the excitement of being this new you, because they're both beautiful in their own way.
100%. So it's interesting, because I've grieved at different times. Like, I've picked moments to where it'll pop in my head, and it's usually when I'm by myself. And I'll and when it happens, I tell myself, all right, we got 2 minutes. Let's think about it. Let's get it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, internally, like, it doesn't come out. I'm not crying or anything, but
just feeling it.
It's just, you're just in it for like 2 minutes. I'm like, all right, cool. 2 minutes. Let's do it. We go over everything that we did, what we could have did different, all the different things that your mind, I let my mind wander, and we try not to, but I'm like, all right, go ahead and wander for a second. Like, you let a kid run around. Go ahead. You got 2 minutes. Run around, do whatever you got to do, and then come on back to reality. So I told myself, like, all right, you got 2 minutes. Let's think about it. Let's discuss it. Let's go over it, whatever you need to do. If you need to write something down, like, I'll write it down just to get it out.
Yeah.
And then once that 2 minutes is up, or once, it might be gone in 2 minutes, or before 2 minutes is up, but once it's gone, I'm back to life, and I just kind of move on. And baseball has helped me with that, as far as like turning the page, because it's like, all right, I still have a life to live. I still have to provide for my wife and me.
Right.
Obviously, we want to bring a child into this one day, so you got to find a way. You got to kind of pivot and move on. You know what I'm saying? You can't dwell on the past. It's the past that happened. You can't change it. So In that aspect, I have pockets. I haven't like sat down and accepted it, I don't think yet. I think I have, but it's happening again on my own
Right.
terms, on my own time. If I need to pray about it, if I need to talk to somebody about it, I can. I have people that I can call and talk through
Yep.
things. But as far as like grieving that old person, you kind of you're right. It's like a weird thing. It's like, man, I used to be a professional
Yeah.
athlete, like walking around here like I'm in the big
Yeah.
leagues. Like, I'm at this pizza shop, but tomorrow I'm gonna be in New York
Yeah.
because we got to play the Mets at Citi
Yeah.
Field. Like, you kind of come to that realization, but at the same time you enjoy now because it's like, all right, now I can go to these different cities. Like last year we took a family vacation and we went to Boston and New York.
Beautiful.
And normally when I go to Boston, New York, I can't enjoy Boston and New York because I have a game.
Yeah.
So like if I have family come in town, yeah, we're staying at the Ritz or the W or whatever, Four Seasons. By the way, shout out to the Four Seasons in Boston. That is the most amazing hotel in the big leagues.
No doubt.
I don't know if there's another one. That hotel is amazing. But anyway, so
yeah, it's a beautiful place
going
to be.
To these cities. Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but looking back at it, like I was able to wake up, go work out, go to Starbucks, pick up pick up a matcha latte, go to breakfast, walk around the city, go see the different things in the city, go to a nice lunch, go to a nice dinner, go out, enjoy New York, enjoy Boston. Like I was able to enjoy it instead of like at 12 o'clock, all right, guys, I got to go back to the room because I got to take a nap.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to relax before I have to catch this bus at 1:30.
Yeah.
And while you're doing that, you're not totally not thinking about the game that
you're always anticipating.
Play, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always anticipating what could happen,
right.
what's about to happen, when you're, who you're facing,
100%.
what you did yesterday, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like you're going through the things. It's just human nature to think about it. So, and being able to do that now, it's like, all right, I don't have a game at 7:30. Yeah, I'm just enjoying Boston right now.
Yeah, let's
cool.
kick it.
All right, what are we doing next? Let's kick it. Let's go to the water.
No
Let's go to this nice
seafood
restaurant. Like you can enjoy the little things in life now. And I'm definitely being able to realize that and enjoy it with my wife and her family and
it's awesome.
whoever else I'm around.
Yeah.
Just being able to enjoy life to the fullest and, within my means, of course.
Right.
But it's just being able to, enjoy being, a 30-year-old, young man, being able to walk around and enjoy these different cities and stuff. So I think now I'm literally, like I said before, I'm learning every day about what I need to do next and how I need to move and what type of person I'm turning into and different interests that I'm coming up with different interests every day that I didn't even know I was interested in. So it's fun. It's a fun journey and, see where life takes me.
I love it, brother. Well, hey, how can people find you?
Yeah,
What are you using on socials? You got any websites you need to dish out? How can people find more?
So for the foundation, if you want to donate, we're about to put out some hats, some Broward and 305 hats. I should have worn it to my room now, but some Broward and 305 hats we're going to be selling on there. We have some things that we auctioned off from our game. One Home Team Fit at One Home Team Fit on Instagram. I don't think he has a TikTok, but at One Home Team Fit on Instagram, and then onehometeamfoundation.com.
Beautiful.
So you can find us on there, and you can donate to. We have a run coming up in May 25th. That's a Sunday, May 25th. We have like a trail run, just trying to kind of put out that running is medicine.
Yeah. I love that.
It might not be medicine for me and you, but
movement,
for some people
baby.
it's medicine.
Just got to move.
Yeah, movement. So we're running in the Everglades. So
it's incredible.
Come out to that if you're in the South Florida area. And then on Instagram, I'm just Lewis Brinson on Instagram or Lewis Brinson on Instagram. And then whenever the Clubhouse Lounge comes out, you guys will hear about that.
That's incredible, man. Hey,
so yeah, man.
Hey, it was I knew this was going to be fun to talk to you in general. I know we had a short stint together. I was super bummed when you were leaving because I felt like I was going to really get to hang with you and get to know you. But life happens, especially in sports like that. But yeah, from afar, man, it's cool what you're doing. I'm pumped that we kind of reconnected and we were able to pull this off. It was an honor to just sit and listen to you. I love where you're at, and it was cool. I learned a lot in this and my own. So I feel you. I love your energy, brother, and I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on, Harvey, man. Like I said, it was a short stint with the Giants, but it was great. I learned a lot about breathing. I learned a lot about different things. I learned a lot about my mental. That was part of my mental journey. So I appreciate you for having me
No
on.
doubt.
Honored. And, congratulations on the pod
Thanks, brother.
and continued success, bro.
I love it.
For sure.
All right, well, hang with me for a second. Cheers, everybody.